As the Western Bulldogs head into their bye round, we're going to take a mid-season review look at the Bulldogs. We'll be having a look at how they've gone this year, all their best players, and what we can expect to see from them in the rest of 2025. Stick around. Hope you enjoy. Alrighty, this is the mid-season review episode for the Western Bulldogs. Welcome on into the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. We're doing mid-season review episodes for every single club in the AFL as they get to their bye. This weekend is the first lot of byes for 4 teams, so we'll be running through all 4 teams this week. Check out the social medias for the exact time frame, but we've got Bulldogs today, Carlton tomorrow, and then North Melbourne and Port Adelaide coming up later this week. There's also going to be plenty more coming up over the following weeks. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that noti bell so you don't miss any videos. There's going to be plenty of bangers coming out over the next few weeks, so check them all out. I appreciate you for being here. Also, don't forget to check out the podcast while you're here as well. Plenty of episodes, 2 every week, so plenty of football content for you to catch up on and keep up to date with. Without any further ado, let's jump into the Bulldogs mid-season review. That's what we're here for. No need to muck about. Season so far for the Doggies. What do we make of what they've done so far? Obviously, 11 matches in for them. 6 wins, 5 losses. Pretty healthy percentage, 126.5%. 7th on the ladder. The concerning thing, I guess, is their record against the top 8. They're 1-4 so far. It's not disastrous. A lot of those losses have been close. 6-point loss to Collingwood. 21-point loss to Brisbane isn't too bad. 10-point loss to Gold Coast, and then 14-point loss to Geelong. So well and truly in all 4 of those. All 5 of their losses, they've been well and truly in. Record against bottom 10, 5-1. So pretty healthy. The one loss there was an away loss to Fremantle over in the West. So not bad there either. Their season started a little shaky. Obviously, a lot of injuries, especially through their midfield early days. No Bont at the start, no Treloar, no Waitman. It started a little shaky. Just 2 wins from their first 5, beating North Melbourne and Carlton. Not fantastic wins looking back on them, just based on where those 2 teams are sitting now. And 3 close losses. As I said, Collingwood, very unlucky to lose that one. Fremantle, over in the West, you completely forgive that one. And then gather round against reigning premiers in Brisbane. Pretty solid showing there. They turned it right around from that point, though, smashing St Kilda by 71. GWS over at Manuka by 32 points was a really good win. Smashed Port Adelaide by 90 points. Close loss to Gold Coast. Really, really smashed the Bombers 2 weeks ago, and then close loss last week down at the Cattery against Geelong. So they're sitting in a pretty healthy spot, 6-5. It's the sort of record where you could really see them developing that in the second half of the year. I think the number one thing I've noticed so far from the Bulldogs that's different compared to other years is the consistency. That's been their biggest issue over previous years. They have games where they get blown out, where they played putrid when they should be winning games. Whereas this year, they've pretty much won every one that they should, and they've been really competitive in the rest. They haven't had a bad performance, in my eyes, certainly compared to pretty much every other team. Most teams in the AFL have had at least one really bad performance this year, but Bulldogs have been really consistent in that, so I think that's a really big positive for them. We'll run through some of the stats. I don't have any graphics for these stats, but I will have some graphics coming up, so stick around. Plenty of content to get through here. First of all, scoring for and against. Number 1 scoring team offensively in the competition so far this year. They score highly. Adelaide were number 1 for a bit there, but they've had a couple low scoring games as well, whereas Bulldogs have been pretty consistently high scoring. Defense, they're sitting 10th, so conceding a bit more than they'd probably like, but overall, pretty good record. They're the team that spends the most time in the forward half. The ball spends the most time in their forward half in the whole competition. Over, by quite a little bit too, to be honest. Most teams sit around about that 50% mark. They're at 53, I think. So really high amount of time in their half of the ground. Also, very high handball game. I don't know if that means much or not. It's just game style, I guess. But they are one of the highest handballing teams in the competition. They're the number one scoring team from stoppage by an absolute margin. They get over 50% of their scoring from stoppages, from both centre clearances and around the ground stoppages. That's their number one score source. It's what they do. They're so yeah, that's basically the story of the Bulldogs, is scoring from stoppages. They're also number one chaining to score, so turning a chain into a score, number one in the competition, and they're number one at moving it from defensive 50 to forward 50. Not so much at converting that into a score from end to end, but they are really good at moving it end to end. So really positive numbers, and that you would imagine will only increase when they get someone like Sam Darcy back. I was about to call him Sean Darcy. Sam Darcy back, and just give that more consistent contested mark target in that forward line. You'd imagine would only improve their chances at turning those into scores. One thing about the Dogs, they're a low pressure team. Defensively, they're not the most pressurizing team in the competition. However, oppositions against them have high pressure. So is that weird? Maybe, maybe not. But they kind of handle that pressure from oppositions quite well. So it doesn't hurt them too much. When you look at score sources and stuff from the opposition, there's no obvious weakness. It's pretty level across all avenues, which is a positive, negative, whichever way you take it. But I think the main thing is they concede more than they would like. They're the 10th best defense in the competition. If you want to be serious about a title contention, you probably want to be in the top 6 defensively. Not necessarily definitely, but you certainly want to be up around that mark. So defensively, I think they need some improvement. Offensively, they are absolutely flying. There's no doubt about it. We will move on to defenders. We'll go through all the players around the ground. We do a ranking system here at All Aussie Rules. Every single game, every single player, always ranked and rated. So this is it. This is the rating system. As you can see, key defenders up the top. We've got Rory Lobb, James O'Donnell, Jed Buslinger, and Liam Jones are the 4 that have played. 2 of them are unranked. If you haven't played more than 4 games so far this year, you will be unranked so far. So those 2 are unranked. Rory Lobb sits in the average category, which means he's in that range from top 40% to top 60%. So he's not highly ranked so far. 26th best key defender so far this year. James O'Donnell back at 42nd best key defender. So their key defenders are not their best this season. I think Rory Lobb's probably slightly down on where he was last year for the season as a key defender. Not the end of the world. Probably is capable of getting into the top 18, you would imagine. But at the moment, just down a little bit. We move to the general defenders. This is an interesting area of the ground for the Doggies, because Bailey Dale, clearly one of the better general defenders, running defenders in the competition. He's played 11 matches. He rates as an elite. He's 6th best general defender. 33rd ranked AFL player so far this season, according to the All Aussie Rules rating system. But after that, they have a big drop-off. Nobody else is average or better, so the rest of their defenders are outside of the top 60% of general defenders. That's Johannesson, Bramble, Luke Cleary, Harvey Gallagher, and then the 2 that are unranked. Also, their ratings so far would not have them anywhere near the top 60%, and that's Oscar Baker and Taylor Duray. So, yeah, they've got that elite player in Bailey Dale. Not much support down there at the moment, and that's probably the biggest issue for the Doggies. As we said, they are the 10th worst at conceding scores at the moment, and their backline just maybe lacks that star power. They don't have a key defender that's in the top 18, so Rory Lobb's probably not walking onto any team as a number 1 defender. And general defenders outside of Bailey Dale, they are lacking that next one. Is that because they got rid of someone like Caleb Daniel? Would he be great in this team? Absolutely. But they made that choice, and that is how it is. We'll move into the forward line, other end of the ground, and this is completely different. Up forward, key forward wise, Sam Darcy. Obviously, he is injured at the moment with a knee. I think he's still out for a few more weeks, but he will certainly be back for a decent hit out before finals. He's played 6 games. He ranks as the number 1 key forward in the competition. I don't think there'll be too many arguments. He is an absolute gun. They will be waiting for him to get back. It will be huge to get him back into this team. He obviously rates elite. Aaron Norton is above average, so he's in the top 40% of all key forwards. He's ranked 15, so they've got 2 players in that top 18 as key forwards so far, which is really positive. And Baku Kamas, obviously, he does play a little bit back at times. He's played, according to my numbers, slightly more as a key forward. Not massive numbers from him. He shows some good signs, though. Certainly, until Sam Darcy's back, that's his role, I think, at the moment. Once Darcy's back, will that change? I guess we'll wait and find out. Maybe he is someone that could go and into that key defender role back to where he kind of started his career. General forwards, they've got some solid talent here. Riley West is ranked 14th as a general forward in the top class category, so top 25%. Same with Riley Sanders. Obviously rotates through the midfield a little bit, Riley Sanders, but we'll get to their midfielders in a minute. They're really stacked in that area, so he's kind of been pushed into that high half forward role and played it pretty well so far this season. Latham Vandermeer, he's been getting some good goals recently. He's ranked 36th in that above average category. So they've got 3 players in that range. Really 3 good players that you would imagine would be getting games for most teams. After that, Lachlan McNeil's a little bit below average so far this year. A little bit below his best. Josh Dolan as well. And then 3 players that haven't played enough to be ranked yet. Arthur Jones, Caleb Poulter and Cooper Hines. 2 of those have very low rankings at the moment. Obviously, Caleb Poulter is an okay per ranking. He's probably around that below average, high below average range, but he hasn't played enough yet this season. Moving into the midfield category, inside mids first. This is the Bulldogs' biggest strength. Outside of Darcy, this is their biggest strength. They have so much depth in this midfield. You look at it, Bontempelli, number 1 ranked midfielder. Ed Richards so far this year is the number 2 ranked midfielder, which is crazy. They've got 1 and 2. And then Tom Liberatore's number 5. Crazy numbers. Chuck in the fact that Matthew Kennedy's probably having a career best year. He's rated in the top class category. He's number 20. Adam Treloar has only played 1 game. Pretty good rating in that 1 game as well. So he's unranked. Joel Frazier is better than that rating suggests, I think. 62 in inside mids. At other teams, I reckon he'd be rated a lot higher. It's just the fact that there's so much depth in this midfield, inside mid game for the Dogs. There's only so much room and so many possessions and so many centre bounce attendances and all of this that players can attend. So he's just missing out at the moment. He will eventually move into that role. When that is, who knows? But they have such a stacked inside midfield. It's crazy. Outside midfield, pretty good in this area as well. James Harms has been outstanding this year. He plays high, half forward, wing, a bit of both. Plays both roles really well. He's got quite a few goals this year. His run and carry is really helpful. He rates as an elite in this category. Number 4 as an outside mid so far this year. Bailey Williams, also another one that has played a fair bit of time on that wing. Also, probably less time forward than James Harms. He's ranked 6th overall in that area. And Sam Davidson, first year player, has been a really good find for them. Had a couple breakout games that have really shone brightly. He's more of the conventional winger, spending a lot of time on that wing. Played it really well so far. Wing is a really tough position to score consistently. And then obviously in the ruck category, Tim English is their only ruckman. Sam Darcy fills in when he's playing, and obviously they have to find other players while Darcy's out to do that backup ruck. But Tim English has been pretty good this year, ranked 9 overall as a ruckman, so in the top half of the teams there, above average category. He's had a very good season. Last year was a bit of a drop-off for him, but this year has certainly been an improvement on last year's numbers. So that's all the players from the Bulldogs, and this is how they spread across the ground. 6 elite players, 3 of those inside mids, a key forward, a general defender, and an outside mid. 4 top-class players, 3 above average, 3 in the average category, and 8 that are below average, as well as 8 that have not been ranked. So that's of players that have played a game this season. As you can see, really high amount of elite players. I mean, you work it out, top 10% of the AFL, there should be like roughly 45, 46 elite players in the competition. You're working that out at about 2.5 per team. So to have 6 at this one club is a sign of how good this Bulldogs team can be and has the ability to be. And it's those inside mids. Chuck in the fact that Sam Darcy is going to potentially come back into this team and hopefully can, for his sake and the Bulldogs' sake, continue that sort of form, be that elite category as well. Moving into what's left to come. This is the Bulldogs' schedule to come after the bye. The expected win percentage is calculated on the All Aussie Rules ELO rating system. It's not perfect. I'm not going to pretend it is, but that's what the expected win percentage is. We'll get to the expected wins and ladder in a moment. We'll go through them game by game though. And one thing you'll notice is a lot of Marvel Stadium action for the Doggies. I think they're 4-0 there this year. They've got 9 games left there. That is worrying sign for most other clubs, I think. the fact that they don't leave Marvel too many times. So they have the bye in round 12. They come out of that with a big game against Hawthorn. That's at Marvel Stadium though, which I would suggest probably puts the little ticker towards the Bulldogs a little bit more. Hence why it's a 51.68 expected win percentage for that one at the moment. St Kilda, round 14 at Marvel Stadium. Richmond at Marvel Stadium. Couple big games and a really good chance for them to get a couple wins there. Sydney at the SCG will be a cracker. North Melbourne at Marvel, another one that they should win. Adelaide at Marvel, before Brisbane at Gabba. That's their toughest one in the run home. Bombers at Marvel, GWS at Marvel, Melbourne at the MCG, so that's their one MCG game left that they have this season. West Coast at Marvel Stadium late in the season, and then Fremantle. So the 2 WA sides the last 2 weeks, both at Marvel Stadium. Some really good opportunities to score. If you work it out with the expected win percentage per game, that gives you the expected wins, which is at 14.23, which would have them 5th on the ladder. Really tight in that range from 2nd or 3rd on the ladder down to about 6 or 7. 13 wins should get you finals. 14 will definitely get you finals this year. Bulldogs could end up 15 wins quite easily with that run home, I think. They're certainly going to be going in, based on if you just looked at every match individually now, they would be favourites in at least most of them. The only ones that you'd consider they wouldn't be would be the Brisbane one. They definitely won't be favourites for. Hawthorn could go either way as favourites. Sydney, they probably start favourites even at the SCG, in all honesty. And the rest of them, they do start favourites. So they have a really good opportunity in 2025 to make this year theirs. They've been a lot more consistent so far this year. If they can continue that throughout the rest of 2025, watch out, because they will end up playing finals, you'd imagine, based on what we've seen. The world's their oyster. If they can get that consistency, if they can finish top 4, which they should do, I think they'll be very close to it. They could be very, very dangerous for other teams heading into final series. But that's the Western Bulldogs for 2025 mid-season review. They're sitting in a good spot. They've got a lot of room to grow. They've got a high ceiling, I think, this year. Let me know in the comments below what you think. They probably need to tidy up that defense a little bit. They probably also want to start beating some of the top teams. But other than that, they're going really well. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that noti bell. Check out all the other teams as they go up. There's going to be 17 more teams after this one, as well as the podcast that goes live twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. Thanks for tuning in. This is the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. I'll catch you on the next one.